Hey everyone, I am back again today to share my process video for my 2019 Project Life week number 4. So again, I'm using the gel kit from Felicity Jane, and for my title card, I am pulling out these Hello Christmas Puffy Alphabet from Felicity Jane. I love how big and bold they are. I'm also going to use this stamp set from Ellie Edwards that I purchased recently. Probably going to use that LOL stamp. And then I'm also going to try to use the Jill stamp set as well as my Tim Holtz tiny word stickers and these 2 stamp sets that I recently purchased from Studio Calico. So for this week, we didn't really have a whole lot going on. But there are a couple of stories that I do want to be sure to tell. I'm going to add this flip pocket here with this story, which I will tell you about a little bit later when we get to it. But for this week, I am pulling out, again, that golden yellow color because it matches a lot of the photos I have going on this week, and the leopard print, which just so happens this week I have that photo of my daughter in that flip pocket. And she's wearing her leopard printed pajama. So that's kind of funny. So I took the girls to the library that weekend. So I just took a picture of some of the shelves in the kids section. And again, I'm pulling out those Pegs typewriter font alpha stamps. And I am going to use it to stamp out We Love. And then I'm going to pull out my black Felicity Jane cardstock letter stickers, and I'm going to spell out books. So it'll say We Love Books. And I'm going to stick those right in the center of that photo of all the books, the shelves at the library. My kids love going to the library. They kind of crack me up because my oldest will go off. She's a pretty good reader. She's in 1st grade, but she definitely can read chapter books. She'll read an entire book in one day. So while she goes over to look at her chapter books, her little sister will stay in the more juvenile book section, and she will just pick up books until I tell her to stop. She, I'm sure, would take every book off the shelf and we would take them all home if I would let her. And then when her older sister comes back, she will only have like 4 books. So it really kind of cracks me up. So because I'm stamping directly on the photo, I pulled out my StazOn ink. And then I'm just going to be sure to stamp off any excess ink on that scratch paper if I need to. So then, of course, and you will see, rarely does a video go by that I don't make a boo-boo. But you'll see here that I want to stick a puffy heart, of course, right? That's my MO, looks like, because I do this in every single video. So I stick down that black puffy heart, or whatever, and then look what I just did. I just rubbed my stamping that I just stamped, so I smeared the love. So I don't really want to reprint the photo. I really don't want to put anything over it. So I'm just going to use my Jelly Roll pen to just kind of fill the letters in. It ends up looking okay. You can definitely still tell that it's smeared, but it'll be okay. So I'm going to pull out these Hello Christmas Puffy Alphabet, and I'm going to spell out week 4. And I'm just having a look at the leftover bits and bobs from the gel kit to see if there's anything else I wanted to add. And then I changed my mind because when I thought through this in my mind, I just wanted to keep the title card nice and simple. So I'm going to pull off all the letters that I need, and I'm going to line them up on the edge of that acetate sheet. And this ended up being pretty helpful because I ended up wanting to stick something in between the week and the 4 because I thought it just looked kind of plain, and that'll look better once it's in my album because it'll be backed with just some white cardstock. So you can see there that I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do. And I decide to pull out these Felicity Jane flare badges that I used a few videos ago. And I pick out that white one that's got a black heart, and I decide that that'll look pretty cute in between the week and the 4. Won't be quite as plain. So just make sure my spacing is right. I really need to go out and buy a light for my desk. The recessed lighting that I have is kind of behind my head, so the shadows are definitely worse because of that. I have no natural light because it's down in, or my craft room is down in the basement. So I'm going to use, again, one of my Zots on the back of that flare button. I'm calling it flare. It's not really flare. It's just a flat piece of chipboard, but that's what it reminds me of. So then I've moved on to this picture of the girls. My oldest daughter is so sweet. She was downstairs with me when I was filming one day, and she pulled out a bunch of toys that they have and some wrapping paper, and she was wrapping presents for her sister. It wasn't for anything in particular. Her sister's birthday is not until the middle of the summer, but she just wanted to give her some presents. It was kind of the sweetest thing. So I'm going to add that just flat circle leopard print die cut from the die cut pack, and then I'm going to layer a couple of word stickers on top of that piece of ephemera. So I'm just going through my little phrase booklet, and I'm trying to decide which one that I want to use. And it is pretty long, so I'm just going to cut it down about in half. So now I am ready. I'm going to go ahead and stick all of that stuff down. I'm going to go ahead and use a Zot because it's easy. Trim off the excess. I like for the circles and that kind of stuff especially to just hang off of the edge of the photo. So I'm going to stick those down, and then I think I'm going to pick up one of my puffy hearts. I'm going to layer that on there too. See, my desk was getting to be a mess and I couldn't find them. I should have gotten 2 packs of those puffy shapes. They are amazing. And that one is done. So moving on to this filler card, I had something in mind that I wanted to do with it whenever I pre-planned the cards that I was going to use for this layout, and I couldn't for the life of me remember what I was going to do. So I thought about stamping but I really wasn't feeling it. Nothing in the ephemera is really sticking out to me either. So I end up using one of those chipboard flares from the Briquet. Cannot remember what it says, but I like that touch of black to that card. I'm just going to sift through and make sure that that is the one that I want to use. So I am going to go ahead and stick that down as well, and then that card will be finished. Now the next one, I really didn't know what to do, so I decided to stamp my week dates on the little label area there, since I didn't put them on the title card itself. So I'm going to go ahead and use my VersaFine ink and stamp the week begin and the week end dates on that card. And then that one will be done as well. I do go back to it just with one little touch here in a little bit, but for right now, that one is going to be done. I think about adding something else right now, but I don't end up doing anything. I was thinking about adding that acetate piece from the gel kit that's just got the golden yellow, kind of a wonky dotty line, but I don't like the way that it looks. It just kind of disappears into the card. So I'm just going to put it to the side, and I'm kind of running out of things in the kit that I can use that are in this black, white, and golden yellow. And then I've got this picture here. My husband has our littlest daughter up on his shoulder, and at another point he was carrying the other one by her waistband. So I'm just going to staple down the "You Are Strong" label sticker that came in the die cuts. That one was perfect. And then for this one, I'm going to end up sticking two 3x4 cards together to make a 4x6 for that bottom pocket. I wanted to add a little bit of interest. As much as I love this 3x4 card, I wanted to add just a little bit more interest to it. So I'm going to use my X-Acto knife, and I'm going to cut around the "Love You" sentiment, and I am going to layer it on top of that leopard print 3x4 card just to add a matte to that "Love You." Just to add a little bit more visual interest to that card. So I'm going to go ahead and stick it down. And then I'm going to trim it out. And then I'm going to stick it right back on to that 3x4 card. And I'm going to use my tiny attacher, and I'm going to staple it through that "Love You" paper. So it is adhering it onto this 3x4 card. And then I'm going to add just one staple in that bottom right corner. And that one is done. I love that one. And then I'm going to move on to the other 3x4 card that's going along with that "Love You" card to fill up that bottom left 4x6 area. So here I'm adding the flip pocket, and this is where I'm going to pull in that LOL, and I end up stamping OMG LOL. with this Allie Edwards stamp set. I just love her handwriting. So I'm going to pull out my ink and my stamping block, and I'm going to use the sort of handwritten cursive-y OMG. There's two different ones on there. There's one where it's, I mean, they're obviously both handwritten, but one looks more scripty and one is all caps. So I'm going to use the more scripty looking OMG because the LOL is all caps. So I'm going to clean that off with a baby wipe before I put it back. I'm trying to be mindful to clean my stamps off really well before I put them back. And I'm going to add the LOL. I've not used this stamp set, so I'm just making sure that it's stamping how I want it to. And these surprising layers stamping perfect the first time. So I'm going to journal on this card that photo of my daughter there sleeping. That night I read her a story and then she fell asleep before we could get to the end of the story and turn the light out. But I was reading her a Winnie the Pooh story that night and she cracked me up because there was a photo, which I took a picture of. There was a photo in the book of Tigger, and Sierra said, "Is Tigger a chef?" And I said, "A chef? No. Why?" And she said, "Then what's he got on his head?" And when I was looking at the picture in the book, it was the funniest thing because Tigger had his arms up and his hand was up in the air, but it was kind of behind his head. So the shape of it did look like a chef's hat. It was just kind of hilarious to me that she thought that his hand sticking up behind his head was a chef's hat instead of his paw. So that just kind of cracked me up. So I had to run off to grab the Heidi stamp set because it's got that arrow, and so I want to just point out what she was talking about. So I'm going to stamp that arrow pointing at his paw behind his head. It was the funniest thing. I love to document the things that my youngest has to say because she says some of those classic only kids would think that or only kids would say that things. It just makes me giggle. So I'm going to stamp that directly on the photo with my StazOn ink. The lighting was not good, obviously. We were getting ready to go to bed, so it was dark outside and the overhead lights with the book, the lighting wasn't good. So all of that is done. So I just need to adhere these two cards together. I don't know why I struggled so much with this. You would think it wouldn't be difficult, but for some reason I was trying to hold the cards together with one hand, and I was trying or fumbling with that piece of washi tape with one hand, thinking I would just, I don't know what I was doing other than just I'm playing with it. So then I decided to do just what I did there. So I'm just going to stick the tape down on one piece or on one side of the cards, stick the cards together and move on. I made that so much more difficult than I needed to. That was funny to watch. So those cards are ready to go, and then I can now stick these two cards into the 3x4 flip pocket. I'm just going to add another one of those cardstock flare badges to the photo. That one I think says the story or this story. These are the moments I want to remember. How their little personalities were, all that stuff. So it's very important to me that I document those moments that happen during the week where I'm just like, oh my gosh, you are the cutest things in the world. So those are good to go. And then I've just got this last 4x6 photo that I took of the girls sleeping in mom and dad's bed. I was getting ready for work and I just walked back into our bedroom and they just looked so cute. So here's where I go back to that one black and white diagonal stripe card that I added the dates to. I wanted to use that little leopard print flag, but I couldn't figure out how to make it work on this photo. So I'm just going to add it to that one filler card. Just to add a little bit of more interest, I just stick it down right there below that first the week begin date stamp, and that's done. And then for this one, I keep it simple. I was going to add that circular stamp. I think it said to the moon and back or something like that. But with these circular flare badges that I've already added on, there's already 3 of them on the layout, and I don't know, that fourth circular element was just kind of throwing me off. So I was thinking about some different things, and then I decided that this stamp set from Studio Calico has a stamp on it as well that says all the feels, and that's how I felt that morning. So I'm going to use that one and stamp it in that corner with my Moonlight White ink. And I like the way that this ends up turning out. That ink is just beautiful. It stamps beautifully. So I'm going to clean that off. And then I believe that we are done for this week. Let's see. Or, yes. Just when I think I'm done, I always add in a puffy heart. So that is my spread for week 4. I love the way that turned out. The week 4 is kind of hard to read from here, but it looks a lot more clear in real life. Anyways, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!